everybody, welcome back to JSMFX for another edition and episode of Forex Focus analysis and also reviews for the week of last week, that is 24th, and the reviews for the next week, for the focus for next week of 27th to 31st. So I'm going to start off with that's October 2025. I'm going to start off with the news, and as you can see, we have from Monday, we do have the durable goods orders, which I feel for me it's not that important, but it's something that I'll be watchful about. And also on Monday I'm not around, so nothing much will happen for me. On Tuesday, yes, I will be around, but there will be no news. And as you can see also, we don't have much to look at. On Wednesday now, I'll be very much interested in looking at the Fed interest rate decisions and also the press conference, waiting to see how market will, play out and also what to expect. For now, I don't know about the US government shutdown, but I feel we're going to have some few moves, and market's going to be a bit volatile around this news for the Fed interest. Thursday also, I see so much activities from many areas of the world, like the euro, okay, all the way to USD, where now we have the jobless claims news, and also the GDP growth rate. Okay, so I'll also be very watchful about that, and also the ECB press conference, just the same as Fed press conference. That's for the euro on Thursday, and I'll also be looking forward to that to see how the market will play and also what the chart will give us. Friday now is where things will boil up, because we have the core PCE. For me, that's the most important according to the pairs that I'll be trading. So core PCE is what I'll be looking at very, very closely and watching to see how also price, or rather the market, will play out. So that's just the news. Let us now jump to the charts. So hello, let us start off today with the surprise pair that I finished up with last time, or rather last week. Today I'm going to start with it because there's not that much to look at, but because I've gone through it throughout the week, to even have some few trades playing out, makes me feel like yeah, I can work on it. So let us start with Germany 40 or the DAX. Okay, so let's begin. From the monthly, we see that price is surely going up, and doesn't look like it will reverse anytime soon. So for me, I'm looking at this uptrend from that low to this high, coming down to pull back with this candle right there, and then going up like that, because all these candles broke the previous candles high. Like this one broke this one broke this one, just like that. So all this for me is just one up move, and then we had another slight pullback. Okay, and then a slight pullback to this doji, which for me is the bearish candle. Yes, it wasn't a pullback, but as you can see, it only came as far as that demand and then pushed to the upside. So please don't concentrate so much on this demand that I drew here. These are weekly demands, and right now we are at the monthly, so let's just concentrate with the whole monthly time frame structure. So right here I see this candle taking out the previous high. Okay, and so because of that long wick, we might be seeing that this could just be a liquidity grab before possibly coming down and maybe breaking this low, causing the change of character. Okay, right here, mitigating this demand and maybe continue to the upside, or look for any supply areas around there, and then signaling that we could be going down. Now if that does happen, then I'll be waiting to see this next low that will be built after the pullback. Then I'll be before the pullback, and then I'll be expecting for that one to go like that. Okay, so once that is broken, now is where I will look to pull the trigger if price now pulls back to around any area of supply around there, and then play that sell and continue maybe deeper inside this demand, or maybe come and also breach it. Okay, breach it, break it, and close below. Forgive me for the noise in the background. People are doing some construction, so I've placed my mic close to my mouth, so I feel maybe I hope that my voice is a bit more clearer than the, all the construction that is going on in the background. So yes, so I'll be expecting at least to, concentrate on there and look to play that downward move to deeper inside there, this demand. Another thing is this will take a long time, so that's just an overall focus for what I'll be expecting. For now, if you ask me about how price is here, we are just ranging. Okay, so unless we broke to the upside, close above this high and this high, then for me I'll be expecting, yes, we are continuing to the upside, so I'll be expecting at least this low to be breached, this doji, and then maybe look for any ideas to the downside. Okay, so that's just the focus for the monthly on the same pair. So let's now go to the lower time frames and see what we'll be facing. So from the weekly, we also, just like I said, now we see how visible the demands are. Okay, and as you can see, price did come to the upside. Okay, then pulled back a little bit, then went up again. Okay, so when it came down here, it didn't break this high, it didn't break the previous one, so it pushed down only to take out all this liquidity. Okay, all this liquidity, the sell side, to mitigate that demand, and then started ranging now. Okay, started ranging around here. So what we have right now is we have this push to the downside, then we have this pullback of this from this inside bar, and then a push to the downside lower. Then we see this high, okay, this high being breached. Although we do have this pullback again, which created a demand and also caused a break of that high. So that means where price has come back now right here, it has come back to this demand. Okay, it has come back to this demand. So this push from here, from this inside bar, could be the one looking to push it to the upside and then continue the move all the way up. Okay, so that's just the focus for me on the weekly for DAX. Okay, so let's go now to the daily. So daily, very, very interesting. Remember the moves that we've been seeing from the monthly and the weekly. Right now, I see that we were here. Okay, let's just start from here. For me, yes, we are playing between that high and this low. Price has pulled back. Let me just, draw that through. From that low to that high, okay, price has pulled back, okay, and then continue to range like that. So it came back deeply inside this weekly demand and also inside this daily demand. Okay, so after it came back down, as you can see, it reacted from that supply, which we could anticipate a move to the downside, but that wasn't the case. So what it did, it came and touched that demand, okay, the next demand, and then pushed to the upside. So what do we have after the push to the upside? We have a change of character right here, which pushed price all the way up to there, and then had a slight pullback again. From that pullback, we see now that liquidity grab that we saw from the weekly and the monthly. We see that it's the same now, and it's very clear on the daily that it was a liquidity grab. So we also have a change of character after the move to the downside and a little bit of a pullback, but only inside this huge range, which now push price lower. Okay, and where it did it come to, it came all the way lower to this weekly demand. So we don't have any daily demand here. For me, I don't see any demand that was mitigated, but I also would suspect that they only came to this demand here, which, yes, it was mitigated with this doji and its bullish candle, but all the same, that's just what is happening, and that is the reason why now price pushed to the upside like that. So again, after the push to the upside, we see another change of character here, because this inside bar was a pullback. Remember, I said that most of the prior inside bars are pullback, so this was the case. This was one of the examples that I can give, and we see that after the breach, okay, of that high from that pullback, we have also, I can say that we have a change of character, which actually push price down to come and mitigate the demand. And right now they could be ready to go continue to the upside, or maybe come and mitigate this supply right here, okay, after the change of character, and then maybe continue to the downside and just possibly changing direction. So for now, what we should be concentrating on is this upward move or upward trend that is still continuing, because we see this structure being broken. So we have a higher high, higher low, and then higher high. So this could be the latest higher low, which could be pushing now price to the upside and continue with the uptrend. So if price does come inside or deep inside this daily demand for me, then I'll be looking to place an sell stop order here, and maybe, just maybe, to time it, and expecting or anticipating the price could continue to the downside, because we still have some sensor liquidity also. I cannot ignore that. So for me, I see after this change of character and this not really a pullback but slight pullback, but I also consider or regard this supply, okay, this supply, the extreme supply that had not been touched. So if price does come deeper inside the daily supply, then I'll be very happy to get involved with the sell side sell stop order, and then maybe continue with the move to the downside, either maybe come to mitigate this demand deeper before maybe continue to the upside, or just possibly changing direction. So anything can happen in the market. That's just how I'll be looking at it. So 4 hour, what do we see? 4 hour, I think I'll only talk about here and also this week, but generally we have this move to the upside like that. So I'm playing between this low and this high, and we see that price has pulled back fairly enough to the discounted area. So maybe this could be the reason where after the mitigation of this demand, we could be continuing to the upside, and that would be the reason why they want to use that demand and then continue to the upside. So that's just the overall structure I'm seeing at the 4 hour. So I don't want to talk about this sell trade because I talked about it in my previous videos. So let's just talk about what we had this week. So for this week, we were here, okay, before this opening of the week, I think on 20th, we were here, okay, and we woke up to know that price actually has started from here, closing out on Friday, okay, the other last week. So I see the price push to the upside and then took out the highs of the previous here, the previous supply, and then we see a little bit of range right here, which, yes, I thought that I could get some few areas of buy trade around there, and then push to the upside to maybe mitigate this supply or even this supply. But that wasn't the case. That was a loss for me. So I think I'll explain it from the 15-minute, and I hope you'll see it. So when price came down, it came down to only mitigate this doji. And then right now we are, playing the moves to the upside. So what it has done right now is price has gone up to mitigate this supply, okay, and then it has come down. So this is a trend that I just shared in the group, and I let them know that maybe this would be the demand that will be used to push price to the upside, either to this supply or even deeper inside this 4 hour supply, because after the change of character we see price didn't actually touch the extreme supply. So maybe this could be the reason why they want to go to the upside. So myself, I think I've just grown to understand that if price does touch the distance like this, that means the edge of the level, the zone, say for this case the demand, it only touched it and then it continued to the upside. So for me, I didn't take this trade. I did share it in the group, but I didn't take it because I love seeing something like this. Say for example, now the way they are pulling back, okay, the way they're pulling back, I'd like to see something coming in deeper. Okay, so if it does come in deeper, maybe to this week right here, if it does come in deeper like that, then I'll be looking into the lower time frames to maybe look for a change of character like that, and then look for the demand, for this case the demand, and yeah, look to trade from it, or maybe put in some buy stop orders, especially right here, and now wait for the market to come so that I get sure, and I get I be certain that a price will come and tag me. So if it does tag me, I'll be very confident to say that I'll leave on that trade to even play, even if it's a whole week or couple of days. But I am very sure that if it does come in deeper and I get that separate setup, then a buy stop order for me to be very advisable to just let it tag me and maybe look for another demand around there, and then continue to the upside. And for this case now, I want one to go very much high. Okay, so maybe I'll only target that 3.1 R, and get out if price comes to here, take heavy partials, all the risk management kind of strategies. So that's just it from the 4 hour. Let's just talk about the 15 minutes on the trades that I had and the one that I lost. Okay, so like I said before, price came in down here. Okay, and then continue to the upside. Remember that trade on the 4 hour is right here on from this demand. So what happened is I noticed, let me just move it across. So I noticed that price was ranging around here. Okay, and after it came down to that point, I noticed that we had this double bottom created. Okay, so after the change of character, you see that change of character, I was anticipating for at least the move to the upside or the return would come and take out this liquidity, something like that, and then continue to the upside. But that wasn't the case. So this was a very huge loss, but I didn't lose much. I think 0.5% on my risk. And yeah, after that, I just left it to happen and let it play out as it is. And from that day now, I just didn't want to get involved inside this trade as a pair, because as you can see, so much ranging is happening. So for me, 15 minutes is not that important right now. But like I said before, if I do get that deeper pullback, maybe to this demand, like right now, you see how now the demand is actually expounding itself to show you some rest of levels or zones or point of interest where price could come to. So for me, I'm anticipating a return to this demand or before possibly maybe continuing to the upside like that. So I don't want to talk much about that. I think that is all I have. So let's just jump into USD CHF before we finish up with Euro USD. Okay, so USD CHF, like we have been looking at this pair from the monthly, we did have a range around here. Think okay, so we did have a range around here, and as you can see, price did range for a very long time before it broke the structure to the downside, and then we had another pullback. Okay, and then a move to the downside and another pullback to some few areas of supply around here, and then price pushed down again. Well, it didn't close below this last low, but we see as much as there was that liquidity grab, we see next candle looking like a doji, which obviously now this means that price is stagnant and we don't know which other way it really wants to go. So for me, I feel the downward move or trend will still continue like that, but if it does come and breach this high, the last high, then that means we'll have a change of character and then maybe look for a supply before maybe continuing to the upside. So anything can happen, once again, like I always say, but for me, that's just the overall focus of USD CHF from the monthly. Weekly, also nothing much to talk about, because if you check very well, we also have the same structure, which nothing has broken. This doji, okay, this long week, push price to the upside like that, and then came down, and then up again, and then lower, okay, like that. So right now, price is just ranging between that high and that low, and anything can happen. Maybe this could come and push to the downside, or maybe deciding to change to the upside like that. Okay, so anything that can happen from there, let's just wait let's just wait and see, because we don't know what price will do, especially from the high time frames. The daily now, things are getting a bit clear. Okay, so for me, this low was broken after price went up like that and then came down. We see that low was broken, so I'm playing between that high and this low. So yes, we pull back to the supply, and then price came down to only touch this fractal demand, which is exchanging wicks, and then we went to the upside, caused a change of character, came back again to this demand, which looked to be holding, and then after a few moment of range, we see price pushing up and then closing above this change of character on the daily. Okay, so this is a bullish change of character. So this could be one of the signals that maybe price would be wanting or desiring to change direction and maybe continue to change direction to the upside. So after the breach of this supply, okay, we see price touching there, which for me, I expected this demand to at least push price to the upside, but that wasn't the case. So what happened is price came down and then pulled back with this supply, and then price pushed to the downside to come and take out all this trend line liquidity, okay, and then mitigated that demand after this change of character. Okay, so I hope you're getting how the order flow is actually shaping up. So after that, we see a push to the upside and then back down to this somewhat demand, but for me it's not really a demand. I just draw it up because it was the last bearish candle for me, so I just mark it there to try and monitor how price will actually play out from there, and see if maybe there was any opportunity in the lower time frames to look at from that zone. Okay, so from here, my anticipation is maybe to come and mitigate this supply, which was left fresh. Okay, so maybe mitigate there and continue to the downside. Okay, or maybe just continue to the downside from here and then continue with the trend, because obviously and overall the trend is to the downside. So anything can happen. If it does come up to this supply, then I'll be looking for any areas of possibility from around this candle, and also wanting to see how it will play out so that I can take that advantage and play the upward move to that supply. Okay, but let us look at the lower time frames and see if there are any opportunities like that. So for now, I'm going to mark this also. Although it's not a demand for me, it's not an official demand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase out the colors and bring this one to at least something brighter, which I will be, it will be a bit palpable inside the lower time frame. So let's just put it at hours and also in minutes and see how extensively it will look like. So going into the 4-hour from the daily, we see now that candle is right here. Okay, so before we talk about that, let us talk about the whole structure. So overall, price has been playing to the downside. So for me, I'm playing between that high and this low. Price has pushed back to a very fair value of the premium side. So I see it coming to this supply, which it actually breached it also, and then caused a change of character. This is where I got a very good trade. Change of character, and then mitigation to that supply, and then the trade was there to facilitate and get me at least a little bit of some profit. So as we see now, price pushback came again down deeper to this week, which after mitigating, we see it taking out these highs, okay, and then running again down to this demand, which happened to be the daily demand of the green and also the 4-hour of the demand also. So right now I don't have much to see here. It is also confusing because we have this move to the upside, which actually this low didn't touch this demand. So you see how it's confusing, because coming into the upside like that, we see a pushback, okay, like that, and then move to the upside, and then another pushback, and then another high, and then now we had a breach right here to the low. Okay, so let me just remove this one, because we see after the move to the upside to come and mitigate that supply, after this kind of a change of character, a bearish one, we see price coming down to mitigate this whole range. okay, to mitigate this orange and this exchanging wicks. So right now price is just ranging around here, okay, very undecisive. We could come back down low, okay, to this demand, and maybe, you know, look for price to see how it will react from there and continue to the upside. Or maybe, just maybe, price would be playing the upward move from here to come to this supply, which for me, this is my main supply that I'll be looking at to get involved, and then, you know, continue to the downside. So anything can happen. Let's just wait and see how next week will be. For me, as you can see, this week it was just a ranging week for me, because as much as there was this upward move, nothing really much really you know, played out much from this level. So for me, this is just all a range. I'll be expecting only to see if I can get involved from this supply or maybe this demand coming in next week, and also hoping that NFP will give us some few clues to maybe anticipate on the next move for this pair and the rest. So let's just go into, I don't think I had anything to show from the 15-minute because it was all shaky. It was all shaky. So as much as I can explain, what I can only say is there was a move here, but I ignored it. Okay, but this one also, it was a very good move. Let me just talk about this. Let me not ignore, and maybe some of you are trying to learn something out of what I'm explaining. So for me, the 15-minute structure was very, very huge. Okay, it was very, very huge. So let me just try and zoom in, zoom out, before maybe we look at how price actually played out. So I was playing between that high, this low. Price has pushed back to at least the equilibrium. Okay, so I don't have any moves to the premium side, but I'm, you know, looking at this with my naked eyes to say or prove that we have touched the equilibrium. So maybe because of, you know, this whole now change of direction, we could also be seeing price, you know, continuing with the trend and come and target this low to the downside. So anything can happen, but let me now take this time to, you know, talk about the moves from that low. It's a very huge range, so please bear with me. And also thank you so much for your feedbacks, for those that are really actually following up on what I do, and also for your comments. Like one said that my chart is very dark. I used to, you know, use the dark background, so right now I've changed it to a lighter one and brighter, which at least will make you see how I look at things. So after price, you know, had or gave us a change of character around here, we see move to the upside. After the change of character here, we see move to the upside from this demand, which push price to the upside. So we see now the internal break of structure right here, pushing price to the upside like that, and then came down. It did breach that low, but still wanted to continue to the upside like that. So I think this was on Tuesday 21st. So when price came in like that to that up supply around there, and then it breached it, I marked this demand right here. I hope you can see it. I marked this demand and I waited for price to come there. But to be honest, this was around evening of our side on East Africa, but I think afternoon on the times of US session. So this demand was the one that pushed price to the upside. So I was hesitant about this trade, but I did share it in the group. So anyone who took it, you know very well that the next day you came and bagged in some profit around here. So what I did is I ignored it. You know, I hesitated, ignored, and, you know, wanted to see how price maybe could be proving, wanting to come deeper inside this for our brown supply. So that's what happened. Coming in the next day, we see price ranging until I think around Frankfurt, where price now shot to the upside like that and then continued upward. So after the break of this high and this high, I noticed that maybe we could be coming down, because after the change of character around here, for me, I see that price didn't, it didn't come up, it didn't come down, okay, to this demand. So what it did make that move to the demand around there, because there was this supply which actually facilitated that. So after the break of this IBOS, we see price coming down. So I placed in a sell stop here. Okay, it's placing some sell stop here, and I think this was on the 5 minute where it gave me that proof that we could come down. So this was a very good trade as I took it, and yeah, it came and hit my TP. So after that, I didn't want to take other trades from there, and I waited for the next day. So I think because of the huge loss that I had on DAX or DAX or maybe the German 40, I do want to associate myself in trading. And after the move on the loss on the DAX and the profit right here on the USD CHF, that was the close of the week for me. And yeah, I did keep on following up on this structure. We had an IBOS again to the upside right there, and we had a change of character around here, which pushed price to the downside, and it never came back to this supply. So for me right now, I'm expecting or anticipating after the move to the upside like that, to that supply, which actually um, broke the last low of the IBOS right there with the news. I think this was the CPI. We see now price is just ranging around there. But for me, if you ask me, I think on the 5 minutes, there is demand around here, okay, which I'll be targeting to see if I do get a move on the 5 minute around there, something like this. Okay, I'll be very happy to take a placing a buy stop around there, just above maybe this high, okay, and maybe play the pullback, okay, deeper inside to this supply before maybe continuing to the downside according to the whole range of the internal structure on the 15 minute. So all that is a plan for me, and waiting to see how things will play out coming in next week. So I don't have much to say on the USD CHF. Let's now jump into the Euro USD and close in for the week. Okay, so Euro USD, last but not least, starting off from the monthly, I'm playing between that high, okay, and this low. Price has pushed back fairly enough to areas of the premium, and maybe that could be the reason why maybe they want to continue to the downside. Also, I still have this demand which price is still reacting from, so maybe, just maybe, between this demand and this demand, one could hold and continue price or moving price to the upside. So what is happening right now is we have the change of character, okay, and then a move to the downside, and then upward move to mitigate some few areas of supply, and then we had a little range before we had the ultimate return, okay, to somewhat the fair value gap right here on the monthly, which actually looked to be the one that pushed price to the upside. So this is the demand which was created, pushed price to the upside. Price came back with this a bearish candle right there, and also this bullish, which is the one that now pushed price to the upside to take out that high, and also some few highs around there, and then price came back down to now this demand. So this demand will be the deciding factor for me to either push to the upside, maybe to the supply, or come back down and breach some few lows here, and maybe come and mitigate some few areas of demand like this one, and before continuing to the upside. So anything can happen. We could have that move to the upside. Maybe if they will be ready now after mitigation of the supply, if they'll be ready to come and mitigate this demand, then we'll obviously see a change of character here, and then look for any areas of supply, and yeah, play the downward move before continuing to the upside, or maybe just coming down and breaching all the way down that low, and continue with the move to the downside. So that's just it from the monthly. Let us look at the weekly. Now weekly, like I said, same thing. From the weekly perspective, we see this. I think my mouse is acting up. I don't know if it maybe didn't have enough charge or something. But from the weekly perspective, we see that price is ranging inside this demand. Let me just change my mouse real quick. A minute. It was acting up, so let me just put in my reserve. No, not this one. Just look for reserve here. A minute. Where's this reserve? Just a second. Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, I think I got the reserve and it's working now. So where were we on the weekly? Yes, judging from how things are, we see that price is actually playing around that demand. Okay, I don't know what's happening now. Okay, so just a second. Let me just zoom in and put it right over here. Okay, so yes, we have the move to the upside. Yeah, like that. I don't know what's up. I think it's my internet. Yeah, so we have the move to the upside, and then price came back to this weekly demand where price now it's you know playing around that demand, and possibly this could be the reason where they would want to push up. But what is intricating for me is we have this pullback right here which has been breached, so maybe this could be our weekly change of character, though we don't have the close to the downside, but that could be the one which actually you see price pushing back to that supply and maybe using that supply to maybe come and take out all that sensor liquidity, mitigate this demand right here before maybe continuing to the upside like that to mitigate that supply. Remember that supply that we saw on the monthly. So anything can happen, just like I always say, but let us look at the lower time frames and see if there's anything that we could be expecting. So from the daily, what are we seeing? For me, I'm playing between this low and this high. I don't know what's up. Okay, to that high, and then we come back down to cause a change of character, and then mitigation to that supply, and then now we have an order flow to the downside. You see how now it's shaping up that pullback, or maybe after the breach of that weekly change of character right here, we see that daily is giving us the signs of downward trend. So right now we had these two inside bar causing demand which push price to the upside, but only as far as this supply. So excuse me, price is just playing between this high and this low for the internal structure. Okay, this low and this high. Okay, so for me, after coming down to here, we see that this demand could be the one holding, okay, and pushing price to the upside. But let's now be very careful, because number one, we have, I think this was a double bottom, and we still have this demand which actually didn't mitigate any areas of demand. So all this, okay, this low, this low, this low, and also some few of some lows that will be created around here could be all inducement, okay, before maybe possibly mitigating this supply, and maybe come and take them out later on. So that also can be a reason for us to look for sales from that supply. I'm not a financial advisor, so please just understand that if it doesn't work out, then that's not my problem. This is all a game of probabilities. So for me, I mark this exchanging wicks right here, okay, which price looks to be respecting, so that also can be used and continue or push price to the downside, just like we saw. But for me, this trade that I gave out to the group is still alive, okay. So yeah, if you had taken partials, then you'll be safe, and let's wait and see if price breaches this supply, then maybe break even will be advisable, or maybe trade your stop loss to just above this high right here, okay, and then wait to see if price will react from that supply and continue to the downside. So that's just the daily. Like I said here, number one, is still uncertain about where to sell off, I guess, from the daily, but I anticipate price to still fall to the next demand below. Okay, so maybe we could see some reaction from that demand. Sorry, the supply, excuse me. Two, but I'm going to mark this fractal supply right here, okay, this exchanging wicks, and find a clue maybe in the lower time frames, anticipating the target of the double bottom, target of this double bottom, and also this low. Okay, so all for me, this is sell side liquidity, where I'll be expecting price to at least go to or come to. Okay, because this demand right here still fresh for me. Okay, so 4 hour, excuse me, sorry about that. 4 hour now, things are a little bit not really complicating, but a little bit clear. Okay, so starting off from the high, okay, because as you can see, we broke that high, the previous high right there. So for me, my low is somehow somewhere around here, right there. Okay, right there. So starting off from that high, we see how the week has been, especially the month. Okay, because the month started off with this green vertical line. Yeah, I think a vertical line, which price has been, giving us a bearish kind of order flow. So I'll only talk about the week, but before that, we need to understand the structure. So from that high, we see we had a change of character around there, and then price came in like that. Okay, pulled back, came down to the demand, and then pushed price back up. I was expecting at least price to continue to the upside from there, but that wasn't the case, so that was a loss for me. Came down to this demand, created a double bottom. Okay, but it was all liquidity together with this low and this low, and also this one, because they breached all of that with that violet move to the downside, and then a little bit of a range. Okay, right there, mitigated that daily supply again, had another change of character, and this was another trade that I should have taken, but I was still right here. I was still trying to gauge how the high time frame works. So you see, that gave me at least a good indication that we could be continuing to the downside. So for me, that was a mistrade. Okay, it was a mistrade, but at least I was proving myself right that things would work out well and better off on the high time frame. So after the move to the downside to this demand, we see another move again to the upside. Okay, to this demand. So here is where I got the guts to take this trade, because I had a change of character right there, and then another pull back to the supply, which now push price to the downside like that. Okay, so all the way now down to here, I see price coming down and creating that double bottom. Okay, and then we had another change of character right there, which price created this demand off of that supply after it came back up to close above, and also cause a change of character, where after the where again price pushed up to this supply, and then came back down to that demand, and then short price to the upside. So you see how now the order flow is kind of changing. Okay, many people would say that for our internal structure has shifted bullish. Okay, but we never know what will happen, so let's just keep on studying or monitoring how price is actually playing out. So coming in this week, okay, coming in this week, we had this demand breached. Okay, so meaning we had a 4 hour change of character to the downside, and then we had another double bottom being created here. Now this trade is the trade that I would have taken. Okay, but that wasn't the case, because as you can see, price came up to that supply, okay, and then short to the downside. So this would have been a very good opportunity for me, but I hesitated on this one also. And coming in also for this week, this would have been a very good trade. Okay, because for me, the week started off from here and ended here. So this, even if it was one trade, but this would have been a very good trade, because after the breach of this demand, this was only a clue for me to played the downward move to this demand, but despite it not being the case, but at least this one played a fair amount of 3R. Okay, so for me, when price was around here and I was hesitating, I was anticipating for price to at least come and touch this supply before maybe looking for that trade from here, and getting at least a fair amount of RR to the downside to this demand possibly. So that wasn't the case. There's a member in the group actually took this trade, and yeah, she did get a good profit out of that. And that's how we play, that's how we do things together, and that's how we get that money. So we had a change of character around there, and then price came back down to mitigate that demand. And then as you can see, price has pushed back after that change of character. It has pushed back to mitigate the supply. So anything can happen from here, because right now what is intricating is we have this demand that is still fresh, so price could come to that demand. Okay, and they also have this supply which is still hungry for price. But because of this order flow, we could be seeing this as the ultimate pullback and then push price to the downside. So this is another trade at the end of the week. I think on Thursday or Friday, I told people that in the group members that if price comes to here, then this would be at least a good trade to take from and play the move to the downside. So for me, again, I did hesitate, but okay, recently, I'll be very honest to put out this excuse that I am being very cautious. I am being very cautious with my trade. So yes, this is a good supply to take the trade from. Anyone who is inside here, I'd say that this is a very, very good trade, and I'll be expecting, or let us just expect that price would come to the downside to at least mitigate this demand. Okay, so if it does come all the way down despite me not taking it, I'll be looking for any supplies, okay, from any supplies around here when price push back like that, and then get inside the trade with you, or rather with the rest of the members, and then continue to the push to the downside. So that's just it. That's what I'm seeing from the 4 hour of Euro USD. 15 minutes, nothing much really played out for me, because to be honest, I am really concentrating on looking at higher time frames, or possibly just thinking about being a swing trader in the future. So for 15 minutes, I won't want to talk much about it, because how the lower time frame is actually playing around higher time frames, how the higher time frame is playing around the lower time frames cannot really give us a good a move. Okay, so for me right now is I see this range, okay, being broken. Okay, and price could be changing direction to the upside, because playing between that high and this low price range around here very much. Yes, I was monitoring price around here on Friday, but coming in right here, I noticed that we had this demand which I was expecting at least price to reach through the CPI news, but that wasn't the case. So as you can see, it only reacted from this demand right here, and then price pushed to the upside. So yes, maybe we could be seeing some few pullback to maybe this demand, and then decide on what will happen according to how the price action will be, and how it will be played out. So yeah, anything can happen. Let's just wait to see on how things will be coming in next week. But for me, if you ask me, the higher time frames, the high, okay, I think, let's see, okay, the high time frame structure, okay, and the whole order flow from the high time frame for me is what stands out than the lower time frame. So for those that are in this trade, you still are doing a good thing, and let's just anticipate and wait to see how price will play out. But for me, I'm very, very confident that this trade will play out to this demand coming in next week. But anything can happen, so let's just make peace with our losses and expect that anything could happen. I don't have much. If you have any questions, comments, let me know in my comment section. If you want us to trade together, you can join in my Telegram group for free. Links will be left out on the description box below. And if you want private mentorship, let me know also. I also help people to see and, to enter in the various places or areas where I know they'll be certain, and also change their trading journey and, yeah, maximize on what they actually expect or from trading. So I don't have much. That will be all for me, and that is what I'll be expecting from the three pairs. You have a nice weekend. Make sure you stay safe. And also, let us keep an eye on the US government shutdown. So anytime that shutdown gets lifted, then price will be very volatile. So let's just also keep that in mind. And let's not forget that despite all the days or maybe the month closing in that they have closed, when it comes to that day that they'll open or maybe lift it up, then yeah, price will be very, very volatile. So be very cautious about that also. I don't have much. This is JSMFX. You guys have a nice weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to check out tips from my TikTok page. Peace.